Mine are basically a combination of watercolor and pencil, but it's an opaque watercolor called gouache. Some of you, I'm sure, are familiar with it, and sometimes people are not. It's similar to tempera, or even the poster paints in grade school. It is watercolor, but it's not transparent watercolor. Even when it's dry on my palette, it will redissolve in water. It's watercolor. And it will actually thin out to transparency, though it seems a little muddier than transparent watercolors when I use it that way. Years ago, back in the 80s, I had a commission. I was in Shreveport doing a show in Shreveport, and people came in my booth, a couple came in my booth and liked my work. I wasn't using pencil at that time. They liked my work, and they told me they owned a music store in Shreveport. They sold band instruments. And my kids were in high school then. We worked out a deal. They wanted some of my work, and my oldest boy needed a French horn. He was playing the school's beat-up French horn, north of Harrison. We lived north of Harrison then. And in the end, I traded a 2300. I traded an original, too, one big one and one little one, for a $2,300 French horn for that high school sophomore. And he went through the University of Arkansas on a music scholarship with that French horn. So I really did a good deal. But what they wanted was ducks. And I was tired of doing ducks. When you don't like what you're having to do, it shows. And I know it shows, and I don't know how to avoid it. So I thought about, how am I going to do these ducks for these people when I don't really want to do it? And I love doing root work like this. This would drive some people nuts. It's really a personality thing. But I love doing those tangles. And I thought, well, if I do the roots in pencil, just black and white, that'll play them down. I wanted to do the roots. If I do the ducks in color, that will play them up. And I thought, well, I don't know if it'll work, but I'll try it. And it worked. And that was the first time that I did something like this with so much of the landscape or scenery in just black and white, and then the birds in gouache in color. They were wood ducks, so they were colorful. It worked. And then I kind of forgot about it. And got busy doing everything else I do, and I always meant to get back to this. Years went by, and finally, maybe 8 years ago, I decided to control myself and really go back to doing a lot of this. So I've done a lot of it now, and this one is an original. I really like working like this. These are imperial moths. They're part of North America's giant silk moth family. And I have a friend in Pennsylvania who's an entomologist. I met him doing shows. He gave me specimens to work from. I've done 4 different moths, but this is the only original of them I have left. The moths are all watercolor. There is no pencil at all in the moths or the birds I do. And then, of course, the background, this is sassafras, is all pencil use. This one was different. This is an original. This is a print. I don't have the original anymore. This is one of my favorites, which is why I brought it. It tells a story. It's called Competition at the Fishing Hole. And you can see who's winning and who's losing. And I had to be very careful with this one. And I'm real proud of the way it turned out. I did my birds first. These are belted kingfishers, and they really do fish. You see them along the rivers and the lakes, and they're fast and they're loud. They chatter as they go. It's hard to get a good look at them, though I've seen them too on phone lines and things where they are still. But I take my birds from separate photos. I've never seen any of these things. I put them together. This is the female. She has a little more color than the male. The dragonfly. People kept asking me if I'd hidden things in there, and I thought, I can't do that. So I've done it a few times, and there are a lot of things hidden in this one. Is that a lot of animals can't see color. So they do see like this. And to think about that, I think is interesting. They really do see like this. So when we struggle, or my customers or whatever, struggle to find what I hid in here, I think it's interesting to think about how it is hard to find things. There's a little rabbit here. If that rabbit didn't move, a predator might never find it, unless it happens to be downwind. Predator might never find that. And I think that's cool. I like that idea about it. But I also do like hiding them in here. I don't know how I do this, honestly, and I don't. And a lot of times, things just sort of begin to appear. I call this one, it's really about the water. It's not really about the dragonfly, it's really about the water. Because every creature that I put in here, and even the sycamore and the dragonfly, have all gathered here because of water. And that's what I think is important with that. Sycamores are my favorite trees. I love the white branches in the winter. They're my favorite. But usually I'm at the drafting table. I have a huge number of books. I love books. I have a huge number of books. Some of them came from the Dixon Street bookstore. Yeah, and I use them for the images. I use them to find out things about what I'm painting, or like what bird you might find in what area and on what tree, and what they might eat, and odds and ends of things. Chickadees. I learned something about chickadees recently that I think is really fun. Because biologists and all will walk into my booth and tell me things I could not find out. And I knew, because I've been reading. I was doing a chickadee painting a year ago, and I knew that they've found out a lot lately about birds' intelligence. It's surprising things. And I knew already that chickadees would come to your feeder and take a seed and go tuck it into bark and hide it for later, hide it for the winter. They're back and forth to your feeder all the time, and they're stashing is what they're doing. I knew that. And I read that they'll hide about 2,000 seeds before winter comes. They can remember something like 85% of those 2,000 seeds. What I didn't know was other birds realize chickadees have that memory that they don't have, and they follow the chickadees around in the winter and steal from them. Yeah,
that's honoring.
But they remember something like 85% of those 2,000 seeds. They can remember that through the winter, and then how scientists find this out, I don't know. Then all that memory is wiped out, and they start over. So in the spring.
That was great.
Any more questions?
No.
Awesome.
I'm not shy.